Hello everyone, my name is Mohammad Ayyab, and in this video, I'm going to share how you can perform RFM analysis on a sales dataset and segment your customers using MySQL. So this will be the dataset. We will be step by step performing RFM analysis and segmenting our customers. So for that, let me first show you what actually RFM analysis is, so you have better understanding about it. It's just a way to segment our customers based on their previous pattern of transactions and their previous purchasing history. And in RFM analysis, we mainly have three metrics: recency, frequency, and monetary. Recency means how recent was the last purchase of a customer. Then we have frequency, the total number of transactions a customer made. And then we have monetary, which will be the revenue generated from a single customer. And again, why it's needed, it's used to target a specific cluster of customers and make the best of our budget and generate high responses. And there are some questions that we can answer from RFM analysis. So let me jump on to MySQL to step by step show you the steps you need to follow for RFM analysis. So I have this data set. Let me do a select statement here from online detail. And one thing here is I would be doing group by customer ID because RFM analysis is mainly focused around customers. So I will use a tilde sign here to deal with the space between customer ID. I'll say it's a customer ID, and then I would need to calculate all the three metrics: recency, frequency, and monetary. So let's first try to calculate the recency. For this, I can use date diff and use now today's date to calculate the number of days that have been since the customer last purchase date. So for the customer last purchase date, I will use the maximum of invoice date and will try to calculate the number of days between today's date and invoice date. And I will say it as a recency. So let's see what we got here. Let me show you also the output. Okay, so here we got the recency. I think it's not here yet. Let me run this again. Okay, so I need to group by. I forget this point. So what I will do is I will do a group by customer ID. And now let's rerun it. So here we got the recency score by each customer ID. And as you guys can see, the score is a bit higher because the thing is I'm using today's date. And there is a large gap between today's date and the maximum of the invoice date. So I think it's a better idea to use the maximum of invoice date as a reference, but it all depends upon your business case. You might want to use the nows function since you have the recent data available. So here in that case, I can define a CTD name, let's say maximum date as, and here what I can do is I can use the maximum of invoice date from, just a second, from online detail table, and I can actually name it as, let's say, reference date, and I can add a comma here. So here what I will do is in brackets, I will simply refer to the refer date column from maximum date CT, and let me run it now. So now that the number seems a bit fine as compared to the one way we were using the nows function. So now that we got recency, we now need to calculate the frequency. So let me show you the data set again. In order to calculate the frequency, we can just do a distinct count of invoice because as you guys can see, invoice numbers getting repeated because within one invoice, a customer is buying many products. So that's why it's getting repeated. And for that, we can use the distinct count. So let me do the count and then I can say distinct and I would say it's invoice as frequency. Okay, so we got recency and frequency. As you guys can see, we also have some rows with the null customer ID. So we would simply removing that because we don't have customer ID. We can't really target those customers. So we got recency, frequency, and now we just need to calculate a monetary. So in the data set, we have quantity and price column. We can first multiply quantity by price and then do the sum by each customer ID. So let me quickly do that. I will say quantity multiply by price, and I will do a sum of that, and I can say it's a monetary value. Okay, so we got recency, frequency, and monetary. Let me just wrap it into a CTE. So can use all these columns later again and say RFM as and add a comma here. And now let's say select all from RFM CTE that we just created. It's the same output. So now we got R, F, and M. We actually need to now do a scoring because as you guys can see, number is a bit high, a bit low, a little fluctuations here. So it would be better if we do some sort of scaling. Let's say I can give a score from 1 to 5. 1 mean, let's say, low ranking and 5 mean high ranking. So for that, we can use entire function in MySQL, and I can give a score from 1 to 5. If you want to give a score from 1 to 10, you can add 10 here. So let's just say I can do score from 1 to 5, and I will say over. And here I want to calculate the score of recency first. So I will first order by recency to order the recency. And here a little twist is higher the recency number is, the lower the score we would give. Because higher the number means we have tax large number of days. The customer bought a purchase very far away. So we would give him uh, low score. And if we have low recency, we would give him high score. So that's a little difference here. That is why we will use descending here, because we will be sorting the data by descending order. And descending means the larger the recency, we will give him score 1. And lower the recency, we will give him score 5. 5 means high score, 1 means low score here, right? So I will say it as a R score. And then what I can do is I can just copy and paste here. And here I will be using the frequency. But here I can use simply ascending because there is no reverse case here. The higher the number means higher score we want to give him. And I will say it's F score, and I will copy paste here again, and I will say it's monetary, and that would also be in ascending order, and that will be M. So now we got all these three scores. Let me also add the columns that we just created here. So we also have these columns: recency, we got frequency, we got monetary. Okay. So let's see what's the output we get. Okay, so now we get recency, frequency, and monetary. We also have some negative values here, which I think shows the customer returned the product. So as you guys can see, let's say the low the recency means we will give him high score. And similarly, the low the frequencies, we will give him low score. We also have, let's say, 3 or 5 here. So based on that, we are giving him high score in frequency and similarly in monetary. So now we got the score of recency, frequency, and monetary. We can again define a CTE here. So we can refer all these columns back again. So I will simply say it as RFM score, and I will wrap it in a bracket, add a comma here. So I will hold that CTE again, RFM score. It's the same output that we have above. So now we got R, F, and M score. We can actually use those scores to segment our customers. And that basically depends upon your business use case, how you want to segment the customer. So as an example, let me first add all these columns again. So we will have a clear picture of how we calculate the different columns from the different set of columns. So we have recency. We also have frequency. So we got recency, frequency, validity, and out of all these, we actually calculated R score, and then we calculated N score, F score, sorry, and then M score. And out of these scores, we want to calculate the segment. For that, I can use simply multiple select statements. So as an example, I would say when R score, let's say, is greater than equal to 4, and F score is greater than equal to 4, and and score is greater than equal to 4, then I would say the customer is a good customer. Okay. So I can copy paste here and I can define some other conditions. Let's say if our score is between 2 and 3, and similarly F score is between 2 and 3, and this score is between 2 and 3. Let me add a equal sign here. So then I would say the customer is an average customer. Else I can say something like it's a bad customer, because otherwise the customer will have RFN and score will be 111 in each category. So I will say and as segment, and let's see what we got here. Okay, so we got each customer ID, its decency, frequency, and monetary values. And based on that, we actually calculated the score of all these three values. And based on that, we actually calculated the segment. So that's a segment we can, refer to and to provide to stakeholders and marketing people to target them based on their needs. So we got average customers, good customer, and bad customers here. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Thank you. Bye bye.